Abbas and I are here because we really want to share with you our experience in Turkey, the people we met, the horses we met, and the land, and what it means to us and what we want to share together with you.
When I met Terry was a moment in my life when something clicked, that I needed a switch in my life. I needed something new. I needed to reconnect with myself, and I was coming out of some crazy moments in my life. I was living in Africa at the moment, so I just decided just to sell everything and move on onto a new journey. And I found Kindred Spirits online. And I was like, who's this lady? What is she doing? There's horses, there's yoga. And I said, you know what? just going to give it a try. I'm going to give it a try. So I signed up and I came in, and completely different experience that what I was expecting. For me, was just going on another trek, riding, doing some yoga, and the experience was just transformational. I found my journey in life and what I really wanted to do. I planted the seed within me, and all I knew is that I was on a great path.
We just somehow always stayed in connection. I felt there was something special between you and I. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know where it would lead until now. This journey of treks, but something that both of us feel and visualize in a very different way than what's out there in the rest of the world as far as the horse trekking business. And I just want to sort of kind of touch a little bit about that, about the trekking business out there. It's something I did myself. It was never about a riding, giddy up, let's go, gallop, 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 get off the horse. It was connection first, so that the horse was happy and that the humans were happy and that they were safe. So when there's connection, there's safety. And that was very important for me. I want them to feel that deep connection with horses and understanding that's built on mutual trust and respect, and not using the horse as a machine. And knowing Abbas, I knew that he also wanted to create something different.
It was an idea that I felt that I needed to do something. I knew it was going to be yoga and horses, and trying to put the two together. And being with you, Terry, is especially that last trip I made right before I leave, it re-anchored me to the essence of what I really want. I kind of had a realization, had a click in my brain saying, okay, I know what I want to do. And before I leave your place, remember when we sat in your balcony
last dinner,
and I told you, yes, I'm going to Turkey because I signed up for this trek, and you kind of felt reconnected to the land, I think.
I totally did. Absolutely. I lived in Turkey for between 15 and 20 years. I don't know, from the age of 17 to the age of 33. So whatever that is. It is sort of after Costa Rica, which I've lived here in Costa Rica for 30 years now. It's my second home. And it's a place that I have a lot of memories, a lot of energy connection, just like my heart went, oh.
Yeah, and I saw this in your eyes. So I did propose to you, if you want, I would love to have you as a travel partner with me. And beyond even thinking about having a project over there, it was just to experience, enjoy it. But you were the light that came out of your eyes. Allow me to say that moment.
Yes,
it was as if a door opened up in your eyes, and you was looking at a horizon.
I just felt, it was like my heart, my soul was like, yes, this is the way. It was just like up in me. And then when I said, do you really mean this? And you said, well, yes, when I say something, I mean it. You were trying it out. The idea was starting to form. I want to do treks in Turkey. I want it to be different. And it started to just go through me, the possibilities of what this could be, the possibilities, how we could create something different about connection and love for horses, love for the land and the people and the energy and everything. And as much as I love Turkey, I do not know the horse world of Turkey. How are they? I mean, in general, the horse world in the world is only beginning to shift and change, and seeing horses as sentient beings with so much more, right? So to have that, were we going to find it? I honestly had no idea. And one thing happened when we ended up going to a place, and it was like, wow, okay, I can't believe it. The first person I meet, there was this connection I could see, this connection he had with his horses. His love and his passion with horses was not the general horse trek type of person, businessman. It was love first, horses first. And if he didn't meet his criteria, it was like, you might as well go. So it was
Yeah.
very interesting. I mean, yes, he was like, he watched us, and then all of a sudden he could see that we made that connection. It was beautiful. Yes.
That was the click. That was the click.
It
Yeah.
was a click, and the horses just seeing their love and how they trusted him and how they were with us. So, we did a little bit of the work that I do with horses through breath and connection, and it was magical. And then we arrived in Cappadocia. And again, someone unexpected who was not supposed to be met, we met. And again, that connection. And the horses that came to him and loved him and free at liberty. He was very interested with what I do and what Abbas was, his vision and everything else. It was, again, that magical moment. And I thought, another kindred spirit.
It was different. It was different because I wasn't expecting it. But I guess once we start envisioning things, we start understanding and grounding ourselves to our morals and our beliefs of what we were trying to do, then we were attracted to the right environments. We were attracted to the right people around us to make this journey.
When we were riding through Cappadocia with the fairy chimneys and the caves, I mean, the ancient energy, like a heartbeat from that land, that connection to the root chakra, to the element of earth, to air, to all these things was just, I mean, you could physically feel it. And your whole body responds to it. And the horses there too. There was something about the horses. They're so connected to that land. There's this ancient heartbeat that just reverberates everywhere. And the colors, I mean, everything was just pure magic.
There's something actually about Turkey. Turkey, you feel like it holds layers, You feel them even if you don't know the history, there's something in this land. It has so much energy, so much beauty in every single way. I don't know, Turkey just gave me a different sense of a place and being on the land that has been through so much. And you feel it speaks to you actually in a way without speaking, when you just look at the landscapes and that there's so much going on there. There's so much. And then it feels like you're just not passing through the landscape,
No.
The landscape is passing through you.
Yes, perfect. Exactly. And yes, the horses, I thought they were so incredible too, that their connection to us and just being with them, you didn't feel like you were just riding another trek horse. You were in connection with another being who was deeply already connected to the land.
Yeah.
And I didn't go out on that trek, but I do want you to talk a little bit about that experience of that early morning sunrise with the balloons. What did that make you feel?
That made me feel like I was in a fairy tale. In a fairy tale, it was a place. I left, it was dark, and then we took the horses, we went down on the first trail, and all of a sudden you start hearing sounds coming from the ground, but then you don't see them yet. So it was just like combustion of fire, and then like the ground was speaking, and all of a sudden you just see those balloons come up from everywhere. When I say everywhere, hundreds and hundreds, and you'll be like, you would be about, I don't know how to say, proximity. You can touch them and they go with you floating as if the air, you're part of them. And it was a journey when I was just looking at them and wow. And the horses were below me, my horse. And I felt at one moment, is this horse gonna jolt? Is this horse gonna run around with this huge thing just floating around? And I'm here and I'm all amazed and looking at it, and it's like, wow, it was just magical, just seeing all the air balloons going up, and you're riding among them, and it was just an experience. It was a magical fairy tale experience that I can't even explain.
I remember that feeling because I woke up early too, and I went to the top, and that's what's great about all the hotels and the places in Cappadocia, because in Turkey, in the Mediterranean, all the roofs are flat. So they're all terraces where the breakfasts are served or whatever's going on. So you're up there in the open air in the starry nights or the morning when the sun is just rising. And just as the sun starts to rise and all the pink and the oranges, the colors, I mean, the reverberation is so the energy is so high because it's all so rocky and
Yeah.
dry. There's this sort of frequency energy in the air. It just vibrates everywhere. And then the sounds of the minarets as they're chanting that prayer was like, oh, it just, you felt you were connected to the divine there. And then these
Yeah.
big balloons that are popping up all around you, lifting into the sky everywhere you could look in all different colors. It is such a unique moment. I mean, it is unique in the world. It's absolutely incredible. And then that moment with the wild horses. Honestly, when we were with the wild horses and I was riding through the wild horses on my horse, the white horse, I could have spent the whole day and I could have just gone that, just like that movement of, just as when I'm teaching with horses, my horse classes, when I'm teaching them how, foals, they move after a horse when another horses go away, or when the
Yeah.
horses come to them, they move away. It's that magnetic connection. It helps them to move like a flock of birds. And it's really something that I use in terms to help people understand how to move their energy with horses, especially when we're working at Liberty. But to actually experience riding a horse amongst the wild horses and doing the same thing, I was just like a flock of birds. I came through, everything opened. I went through, they followed through. It was like a musical dance. It was mesmeric. It was a meditation. And on that flat land where all that water and marshland is, and the mountains behind, and that big Mount Erciyes, which again is historical and energetically filled, was magical. And we
You
were
make me
there in,
relive the moments. I'm just listening to you and I'm
it
just
was
putting myself back
incredible.
out there.
And
Yeah.
the sun as it came down, and all the lighting was just, it was insane. And we did that, it was in September, right? And now we're going to do our next one in spring, where all that is going to be green with the water and the flamingos and the buffaloes. I mean, I can't even imagine how it's going to be in spring. It's going to be a next level of
It's gonna be
magic. I can
definitely a
just say
different
magic.
experience. Yeah, but the best part is like everything was just gentle and everything
Mm.
was grounded and we didn't have to force anything.
And I didn't know, because sometimes it can take a while to connect with horses. And the reason so really is, in the regular trekking business, like horses are going out in treks every day, one after another. They become completely desensitized.
Yeah.
They go doing the same things again and again. Different riders who aren't paying attention to them, they're not being heard. So they start to shut down and just become mechanical in themselves, because
Yeah.
that's the energy that's been given to them. So it takes a lot longer to connect with these horses, to wake them up, to create that connection. But every horse we met there, it was like they were already in that space just waiting. And that horse that we met on Salt Lake that touched our hearts and blew our mind, that connection was like he
That
was a
was a
shaman.
spirit from outer space.
So it was, the whole place was, it was like being on the moon. It
Yeah.
was just shimmering, that salt shimmering, and that state of neutral. Like
That was a neutral moment. Exactly. You just took the words out of my mouth.
anyone who has difficulty meditating, I really think when we meditate there, it's just so easy. You're right there. You're in this place of complete silence that spreads out for thousands, well, hundreds of miles, let's say, of pure, either in September, it's all pure salt, right? And then
Yeah.
in spring, it's water, just this layer of water, which you're still riding and walking through. Um, the silence, you're in that state of shunya. And that
Exactly.
horse,
Shunya emptiness. You're just in emptiness and you feel that time has stopped.
time has stopped.
You're just there. Remember, Terry, when we took our
Ah,
shoes off and it's like, I want to feel how you feel. So you just put your feet down and you felt that energy, like everything was pulling out of your body. Everything negative that might have been
and being
charged.
salt too,
Yeah. Yeah.
salt is
Yeah.
actually physically drawing it out of you. And
It's
then
cleansing. Yeah, it's a
spiritually,
cleansing element.
it's a very
And
cleansing, strong
but
cleansing.
it was a different feeling that I've never experienced.
No,
Being on Salt Lake was
never experienced that before. I'm so
I'm,
looking forward to going back to that with this
that's not
openness.
mentioning the how beautiful it is to actually have emptiness, but it's also beautiful at once. Just like the desert when you go to the dunes, there's nothing, there's just sand, but the presence that feels there is wow.
It, it makes it that much easier to connect and hear your soul, your spirit. It's
Yeah.
just, it takes away all the noise, all the clutter, and nothing is left but you. That's the feeling it
And
was.
he stays with you longer than any
Yeah.
pictures can even capture. And we try to take a few pictures and then See, Terry, I'm just not, this is not even resonating in the pictures. You just have to be in this place to feel it. It's because it's beyond visual. It's visual, it's mentally, physically, energetically,
Energetically. And
spiritual. I
we
never,
had the blood moon that night too. Remember the
yeah,
big
yeah,
blood
yeah,
moon?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Incredible.
perfect timing. Perfect timing. I remember just standing there, just putting my hands out and looking at the moon, and it was perfect. It was right at sunset.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, my feet are grounded in this. I have the moon energy right in front of me. You have emptiness. You have, it was, I don't know. I can't say much about this. This is a place to be really felt. Yeah.
You know, I'm really, really so excited to bring people there and just to see their expressions and what they're feeling, to live
Yeah.
through them for what they're going to feel for the first time.
When I came back, I was still anchored to that. I have moments
Yes.
when I get agitated and I just close my eyes for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, take a breath. It takes me back to that moment. It
Hmm.
really takes me back. I'm talking about specifically Salt Lake,
Hmm.
not
Absolutely.
mentioning the other experiences that we felt at different
Yes.
locations, but Salt Lake was incredible.
And for me, as you know, I've been practicing yoga since I was 20. I've been leading YTTs for many, many years. It's a big part of my life. I have done a lot of spiritual work. But like everyone, it's always, it's a journey. It never finishes. My whole life working as a healer in yoga with horses, healing horses, helping people, healing people. I'm sort of like a little bit of, I get stuck in that fixer mode, let's say, that I can heal and take care of. And I forget about myself a lot. And being in Turkey, it was like I surrendered to myself. Finally, I could let
You're
all that
connected.
I
You're
connected.
reconnected to your essence. You're reconnected.
Something in Turkey awakened me and connected me to another part who had lied dormant so long within me, maybe from past lifetimes, from everything. And that has never left me. It has put me on a whole, I wouldn't say a new trajectory, but it has put me on I know where I'm going with this. Okay, so for your experience of what you're going to do when you come on this journey with Abbas and I, brings us to you arriving in Istanbul and taking a connecting flight to Kayseri, which is more in the east. And from Kayseri, we're having the shuttles pick you up, which is all organized and part of the plan, and bringing you to Cappadocia, to the town of Gurem, which is the main town in Cappadocia. So it begins there that first night in this sort of magical town of its own with the minarets, the fairy chimneys, and I mean, the whole town itself, the hotels, the shops are part of the caves. Every moment, every corner is another historical moment. And I won't even go into the food and the spices because honestly, Turkish breakfast is one of the best in the world, and all the other things that make this journey magical. But it begins right away. It begins that moment you step off the shuttle and enter your hotel. You enter your room. You walk the streets of Cappadocia. Everything becomes alive. Everything is a moment in itself. And then the next day we begin the first trek, and that connection. So the first trek, actually, before we begin the first trek, and this is an important, we're not just going to the stables, to this ranch and getting on a horse and off we go. That first morning will be spent working in that connection at liberty with the horses, getting to know our horses through our breath, through our body language, and them getting to know us. That's important. And you'll get to know your horse. You're going to create a connection with your horse based on mutual trust and respect. And for me, that's fundamental. We don't just getting on horses and riding off. We are going to create that connection with horses. And then the afternoon will be our first trek, finishing with a sunset and a meditation. So all of it it's entwined. It's that connection with horses, the meditation, the yoga, that trek, the experience of walking, trotting, cantering, galloping in some places, which brings me, I'll quickly go into that. This is it is not for anyone that has never been on a horse. It is not. But it is for a good, strong beginner, intermediate to advanced riding. And for the galloping part, for those who want to gallop, there will be moments where we can gallop. For those who don't want to gallop, you're not forced to gallop. You don't have to gallop. Oh my God, the Black Sea is so beautiful. You know, I lived 30 years in Turkey and I'd seen the Black Sea sort of around Istanbul. I never had any idea of that coast and the cliffs and the beaches. It's just so beautiful.
I think everything we touched on that trip was incredible.
Look, we could talk about this for hours on end. It is not the average trek around the world, and there's great treks out there. This is much more. It is a more, I don't want to use the word spiritual to maybe people think that's more la la land, because it's not about that. You're just connecting to yourself. It's about connection to the land, connection to the people and the horses, and connection to yourself. What it will mean, what it'll awaken in you will be pure joy.
For me, the way I describe this thing, it's not just another trek. It's something that you actually go, and then what happens out there is so simple, and that's what makes it so powerful. That's what makes it so meaningful, because he speaks to every single person in a different way. And the experience that I had was completely different than the experience that you had. But then it's a coming home to the self. You know, it feels like it was a coming home to myself, and
definitely for me, absolutely.
it was something very powerful. Even though Turkey is not my place, it's not my land, it's not. I've been to Turkey before, but this experience was completely different because of the approach and because we're open. I was open to receiving what this place has to offer on many levels, and I took that with me. I took this, and then the journey kind of met me exactly where I was. It met me exactly where I was, and then from then on, it's just magical. You make it the way you want it. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was a deep homecoming. It brought up a lot of memories, but it created so many more at a whole other level. And I'm just so happy that I can actually now go back again and again to Turkey. I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm looking forward to meeting you all and sharing our stories together.